All right, everybody, welcome to Old School Comics. Tonight we talk about Atom Age comics. We got the old Foursquare tonight. Let's go. Let's check it out. Hey, man, what's going on?
What is up, man? I've been looking forward to this episode forever. Literally forever. My whole life. So as you can see, we have 4 boxes tonight. So this is like an extra special. We usually just have the 3 boxes. I've had to bring on 2 guys for this because this is such a cool topic, such a great genre of books. So we're going to talk about tonight Atom Age or Atomic Age war books. So I brought on 2 of my friends who have really good passion for this area and some great stuff. So we're going to get into that. So I'm joined here by Ezra, GJE3. What's up, man? How you doing?
Great, man. Thanks for having me back. So fun. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Second full appearance for Ezra.
I'm speechless.
And the doc is with us, Man Cave Comics. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me again. I'm privileged to be in such esteemed company here.
Yeah, don't say esteemed company because I'm sitting back and I'm just chilling this one. I'm just running the controls in the background. I'm letting you 3 hosses take care of it.
Well, I feel privileged to have both our guests with us tonight, and also second full appearance for the doc. So
Yes,
this is a big issue. We got the second full appearance of both of you guys, and it's the first Ezra doc team up. So this is a big issue.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a minor key. I mean, you can't deny it. It's a minor key, but
Right, so we're going to try to keep this show in good condition, get it slabbed, get our 9.8, and then we got a gem here. So that's what we're going to try to do for you guys tonight. So Atomic Age or Atom Age war books. So there's well-recognized genres and eras in comics. You got Golden Age and Silver Age, Bronze, Copper. Everybody pretty much agrees on where those are. But then the Atom Age is a lesser talked about sort of era. And for me, I think the Atom Age basically starts with the dropping of the atomic bombs, which ended World War II. And coincidentally, the anniversary of the Hiroshima bombing is tomorrow, August 6th, which I didn't even realize this show was going to fall next to that until a couple hours ago. I was watching Smithsonian Channel, and they were covering all the history of that era that ended World War II, and I realized tomorrow is the anniversary of that. So that basically sets off the atomic age in the world. And, along with the invention of the internet, the Industrial Revolution, the Renaissance, there are major turning points in the world, and that certainly is one of them. We entered into the atomic age, atomic weapons, mutually assured destruction concepts, the Cold War, and nuclear energy and all that stuff. And for me, so it's the end of World War II where the bombs were dropped, 1946, we'll say. Those were 45, late 45, but 46, and I think it goes to like 59. So there's some overlap there because Showcase 4 comes out in 1956. That officially starts the Silver Age. But I really consider the Silver Age getting underway really with the 60s and the Marvel superheroes. So Atom Age for me is 46 to 59. And the war books, I'm going to just finish up here and let you guys throw some input in. But the World War II era stuff is the cover art is not realistic. It's over the top. It's dominated by the Schomburgs, most of the Schomburg covers, mostly the Timelies, stuff like that. There's a lot of DC war bond and propaganda in those. But the colors, the setup, the machinery, the soldiers, it's not very realistic. It's very exaggerated. When you get into the Atom Age, it takes on a much darker, grittier tone. It's a lot of subdued colors, a lot of very realistic and gruesome violent scenes. It's a much darker type of war art in comics for that period. So we're going to talk about that tonight, and we'll see what everybody has. But I'm going to ask you guys, Ezra, do you have anything you want to add or any comments, or what does that Atom Age mean to you?
I mean, I think your analysis is on point, and I think your start and end dates are cool for me. Part of what appeals me about it, I guess, is that it is kind of flexible and kind of fluid. Like it's not anything that's really, as far as I know, super agreed upon that has a hard start and stop point. I mean, part of me thinks that the reason we need to have it as distinct from Golden Age is just because otherwise the Golden Age era is so freaking long. You're talking like 3 decades of material with a huge breadth and depth, and it's just kind of like, it's just unwieldy to talk about everything from the 30s up until, you know, the late 50s or even 1960. So yeah, I mean, I kind of think about it as being like 1950 to 1960-ish or a little earlier. Yeah, and I think what you said just about the difference in tone, you know, after World War II, like some more realism kind of started to set in, and there wasn't the need or the perceived need for like that level of nationalism and patriotism and propaganda, like to be selling the books.
Yeah.
And so that's why, just for me personally, like I find the Atomic Age stuff much more appealing, like just on a personal level and on a collector level. Like it grabs me way more because I can relate to it more, and it feels more realistic, and it feels more like critical of war, and you know, and just like what it is to be human, and it just goes deeper. You know, it's not just these kind of cardboard cutouts. Not to diss the Timelies and all that, because amazing, obviously.
Oh, I agree with you. And as a dark theme comic book collector, I gravitate more towards the Atom Age War than like the Timelies. And you know, one other big difference, you know, the Timelies is, you know, the Nazis and the Japanese and, you know, Mussolini covers and stuff like that too. But then the Atom Age War is mostly, it's the Korean War era, the Cold War. There's a lot of communists on those covers. That's another difference. Doc, what do you think about the Atom Age era and Atom Age War comics?
Yeah, I think you described the decline of comics to when it starts going up again, which is 1946. It starts going down, and then 1960s when it starts going really back up. And I agree with you that war comics got more gritty. At the same time, superhero comics became more corny.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You know, it got goofy. It was like DC Comics were, you know, just not that Golden Age superhero comics weren't sort of goofy, but there was a lot of propaganda and war patriotism in it, and that sort of declined. And there was an ascension of romance comics at the time too, which were much more popular than most other comics. So there's all sorts of things going on in the Atomic Age, and of course, people like you, me, and Ezra here love war. So, but you also love the pre-code horror. So that's the other thing that started coming and became much more popular was the horror genre. You know, and you know, Captain America famously becomes a horror comic in a really sort of pathetic way. Yet those comics are quite valuable now, just because no one bought them.
Yeah, well, that Red Skull cover, what is it, Cap 74? That's like a classic horror cover, a classic Red Skull cover, a classic like late Cap cover. It's really good. And you know, the superheroes, you said they sort of got corny. I feel like after World War II, all of these comic characters and writers and artists and publishers, they were so invested in World War II that after the war ended, they really didn't know what to do. And so there's this period of time where they're searching to gain their footing as an art form. What's our identity? And they tried a lot of different things. And for me, the pre-code horror, especially like 51 to 54, very densely populated few years there of just awesome stuff. And then the Atom Age War stuff, man, they nailed it on those. Now there's some other stuff, that pre-hero monster stuff with Marvel. It's got a kitschiness, not great to me. The DC superhero stuff is just no good at all until
you can count the keys on your hand for superhero comics.
They're looking for their footing. They're trying to find their identity again because they're so invested in World War II. So let's see one of the eras where they, you know, some of the publishers invested in. And you know, if you want to put me up, Big Dino, I'll show some of mine and talk about them, and then we'll just rotate and go through and show some books. So Andy going.
Yeah. The only one I forgot to mention, Western comics were an ascension too, and anybody really collects them. You know, it's I
mean, I think the other thing going on after World War II, I'm sure there's been a lot written about it, but I haven't read much or found much. Is just that emergence of like that whole youth market. You know, all of a sudden you had like the invention of the teenager, right? And some of them had some money, and so the diversification of entertainment that was focused on teens, from like rock and roll to race music and all that stuff.
Very true.
Like comics was part of that.
Yeah, and so my collection, I don't have a lot, but I've been picking these up since early last year, so I'm a little more than like, I'm getting close to 2 years in on this genre. I don't have a ton of them, and I'll be honest, most everything I have is Atlas. And for me, the pinnacle of this era is the Atlas Russ Heath covers. That's where it is for me, and I think more than half of the small amount I own are those. So we'll start off with this one. One of only 2 raws I have, the rest are slabs, but I've got one of my favorite Russ Heath ones, War Adventures 13. So this was one of the earlier Atlas titles that came out. I don't recall what year this was, but the War Adventures was one of the earlier ones. And you can see this is what happens when the commies strike. So this is a pure Cold War cover, and this commie with his stick of dynamite he's about to light. This GI has got him just in time with the knife. And what I like about Russ Heath in all areas that he does is his use of light and shadow is so masterful. And you can see the match lighting up the front and the background. You can even see the figures in the back, just shadows. It's just such a striking, gripping cover. I really love this one. And this is a perfect example of the subdued colors and the grittiness. This is not a flashy cover, but it's striking. It grabs you, and it's just like, when I see this cover, it's intense, man. This is just intense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's War Adventures 13, and these are still relatively cheap, which blows my mind. But I mean, I'm gonna keep picking them up while they are, because at some point I gotta believe this art is just gonna become more well known. But it's just such great stuff.
That book though, that book isn't cheap. Like, I've only seen a couple raw copies. I foolishly didn't bid high enough, and I think there was 6.0 on Heritage, I want to say.
Yeah, we talked about that last year.
Yeah, and it went for over $3,000.
It was expensive
if
book.
I remember right. So there are some people paying attention, and I was blown away. I was like, I think I bid it up to $1,200 or something, and thought maybe I had a chance.
Well, I think I only bid it to 7 or 8, but I remember you and me talked about it after that auction. Yeah. This one I found raw on eBay, and I don't know if I overpaid or underpaid or whatever, but for me, it felt like a good deal. This has a popped top staple, so it's not a high grade copy, but it's very presentable, and it's the colors it has, they're good on that one. So
dude,
I'm happy to have it.
Overpay, because that
was that 6.0 the highest graded? Because sometimes that
it was, yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, because
I think it was.
I didn't.
Yeah, for these Atomic Age war comics, they don't come in the high grades that even the Golden Age comics come in for the most part. They probably out there, but people don't bother to get them slabbed maybe, but they're not out there officially slabbed.
And Atlas books in general, whether it's pre-code horror or the pre-hero stuff or the war stuff, if you go on the census for any of these Atlas titles and just run through the issues, there are lots and lots of issues. More often than not, you'll see they top out at 7.0, 6.5, 7.5, sometimes 5.0, and sometimes there's only 6 on the census. Now I know that's a lot of times because people just haven't been sending these in yet, so there's still a fair number out there. But I'll tell you, some of these, like that War Adventures 13, I don't see very often, honestly. So here's a Manili cover. This is Battleground 1. And this is, first issue. I don't think carries a ton of weight, but this is a pretty nice, tough to find first issue here.
Yeah, that's wicked.
That is cool. Got a little color rub. I think it was stacked, and you can see on the title where it's pulled the ink from the other book. But structurally, it's another copy. But it's got, you got this red plane in the background. These guys on the vehicle. Got a nice fight scene in the front. Yeah, again, pretty intense, pretty gritty. This is Battleground number 1. So that's a nice one there. So there's my 2 raws. Let me show one other one, then we'll move on. We're getting started here. So this one was the highest graded until very recently. I think I know the guy who's been sending in all of his high grade copies of Atlas books over this year. And almost everyone he sends in comes back highest graded, and he had one of these. So this was highest graded for a minute. But it's Battle 6. This is another Russ Heath cover.
Mm-hmm.
This is, so this is a ambush scene. You can see the GIs walked into an ambush, and again, the front of that truck. It's brutal. It's violence.
And the back just getting like the metal just ripping.
And
up.
it should be stated, DS, that there's a handful of comics where Americans are actually getting killed, and they're almost all in the Atomic Age.
Mm.
They don't.
That's true, yeah.
They don't show Americans getting killed too often, or dead Americans on the cover. In the Golden Age. There might be one or two, I don't know, but it's uncommon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's routine in the Atom Age War, but it's definitely prevalent. I mean, I'm 3 books in, and there's already several Americans being killed there.
Yep. No. They're often the ones that
light blue. This is, when I first saw this book, I thought it was faded, but I researched it, and it's not. It's just got the light blue sky. It's almost, there's a lot of covers on these Atom Age War books that are at dusk. I feel like this is a dusk scene, and pretty intense. And 6.0 off white to white, Russ Heath. This is 1952. So yeah, there's Battle 6. Another one I bought raw on eBay for what I thought was a good price, and it's a pretty nice copy. So it's just started. So we can move on to I don't know, Dino, bring one of these guys up. Let's see some stuff they got.
Let's go. Let's see what Ezra has. Let's see what you got over there.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't know. You showed that Battleground 1. So I'll show Battlefront 1. It's like 5 different battle titles.
No, there's Battlefield, Battlefield.
I honestly, if you
Action.
just say a title and a number, I won't even be able to picture which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
You show
there's a lot of battles.
So it's a 6.5 off-white Russ Heath cover also. I wouldn't say it's, sorry, the light's kind of jacked. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites necessarily, but it's a brand new mail call. Like it literally landed yesterday. Got it for $300 on eBay. I was like, really?
And that's number 1, you said?
Yeah.
I like the different trade dress there. That's a little, I mean, I like both of the trade dress, but that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just can't front when a book like this shows up in this kind of shape for that cheap. 9 of these on the census, It's like,
well, that's an early one. What's the year on that?
52, I think. Yeah, June of 52.
Yeah. So that's a pretty early one.
Yeah. It's a
There's
little
really not many of these that are pre-1951, 52. Most of them are after that.
Sorry, this yellow light in here is killing the color. But I'll see if I can shift a little bit. Well, let's just keep going with the Russ Heath. And I did mention Battlefield 6. This maybe save the best for last, but this is an old slab, so it's uncredited, but it's one of the best Russ Heath covers, in my opinion. Flamethrower cover. Let's see if I can, that's a little better. And just to me epitomizes the like incredible grimness, like we're talking about. You would never see, sorry about these reflections. You would never
I mean, slabs are what they are. I mean, you can't get away from it, but we can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, literally looks like it's a family being torched. And the expression on, the American's face is just so grim. Like he is torn up about doing this, but he's doing it anyway because it's his duty or whatever. Super intense. 7.0. It's the highest graded. I paid close to whatever that person paid for that. What was it? The 13 that you showed.
Oh yeah.
6.0 last year. So hopefully it stays the highest graded for a while. But again,
well, even if not, though, 7.0 is awesome. I don't even think I have any of that I'm going to show tonight that are at 7.0. I don't even think so. But
yeah,
this is a good segue to mention though that within each genre, there's also little subgenres that people collect.
Right.
And I think the most popular subgenre within the Atom Age War is the flamethrower covers. And the more brutal, the better. And that one is Russ Heath, brutal, like in-your-face flamethrower cover. That's an awesome book, man.
It's super gnarly. And let me just show you context.
And I am a flamethrower cover maven as well. From the Golden Age to that age, there's some good Golden Age ones.
Have you guys checked out this book?
I've never seen that.
Tons of Russ Heath original art. It's actually a catalog. I think to a show that was in Spain, but IDW published it, so there's copies around. But this is actually, it's picking up this book that hipped me to this cover and put it really at the top of my want list. it's kind of cool to see the original art.
Oh yeah.
So
And
there's
in classic Rusty style, it's got heavy
Yeah.
shadowing too. I love it.
yeah. All right, one more real quick. Let's just stick with the Atlas for a moment. All right, well, more Russ Heath, like super deep shadows. But this is, I think, part of why all of us and people all over the world love him so much. It's just the versatility. Like here's one, and again, like super grim, but not really violent. You know, it's the moment before the violence. These dudes at the bottom are about to rescue some of their guys, and there's another American here.
Oh boy.
On the other side with a grenade. You know, these guys being held prisoners, POWs here, and they're about to like get the jump
We're
on
in solidarity with you right now, Ezra.
Korean guys. Yeah. Oh, wicked. So good.
Well, you
Hey,
know,
and I have to thank DS for this. He okayed this to me, man.
Yeah, I had 2 copies. I don't have a 6.5. I got a 5.0 white CVCS.
well,
I
yeah,
have a 3.5 off-white. I'll take it.
There's the flamethrower subcategory. That's the most popular. What I actually like better is, for me personally, the evocative covers where there's not action, it's just a mood. And this one nails it, man. It's raining, like you said. They're about to get executed at night in the rain, and the GIs are just on the next scene is going to be action packed. This is the calm before the storm, and it's just so much feeling packed into this cover. I love it.
And you know what's funny is like when you talk to me about these books and dark covers, it's kind of like tattoos, right? Like if you get a colorful tattoo, it's easy to kind of just put it on. You know, it's pretty bright. But when it comes to like dark colors, right? You know, it's like it's so hard to do shadows right and all that stuff when you have a dark cover. It makes it 10 times better. You know.
And I was going to show the Russ Heath signature. I love his signature too. It's not always in the same place. It's always in different places on the cover, but it's always on there, and it's just such a cool signature.
Yeah, I love that we all have this one. It's such a classic, and there's a lot of PCH that I love for that too, where it's like mood over gore. You know, gore too.
Sometimes, I think people are too into seeing all the action, but sometimes just seeing the aftermath or or what presages it is more evocative, like DS says.
All right, well,
I think that was 3.
Slide over to Doc and see what he's got.
All right, I'm just going to go similar stuff here. I'm going to start with an action cover, not I'm not sure who actually did the cover. They give multiple artist names. Maybe you guys will know. Battlefront 12.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I think I got this from you, DS.
Yeah, that looks like I think that's my copy. Yeah.
Yep. So if you were wondering where it went, it's now here.
I often pick up lower grade or mid grade or whatever, but what really I go for is a good presenting and good colors. And on these war books, all the war books I get, I try to get really good colors. Yeah. And then I sell them all to you, and then I miss them like that one. Such a bright cover. It's brutal.
Yeah. So beautiful cover.
Yeah.
And you got the aftermath here. This person's already taken the room temperature challenge, and
I love the barbed wire on the bottom too.
Yeah.
Is that like a Combat Casey prototype, or is that just straight up Combat Casey in there? I guess it's not. There's no beard.
It's not Combat Casey. Yeah, he doesn't have a beard.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the Combat Caseys because the art's good. There's not a lot of Heath covers with the Combat Casey stuff. I don't think actually, but he's like over the top. It's not humorous. I hate to say that, but it's got the character himself adds some levity to his situation. He's cracking jokes while he's doing the carnage.
Yeah,
and I can't. It detracts from the darkness for me.
I feel the same. Yeah.
Here's another one DS will recognize.
Oh,
Battle 18 and beautiful 6.0 and just beautiful sharp colors.
Yeah.
The flamethrower. You got details like his watch and just the look on his face, and in the background, more action. The dark, it's either twilight or in the early morning, who knows? But it's just well done.
So good. Yeah, he's not cracking.
And that one again is at dusk. And
dusk.
The intensity on that GI's face with the flamethrower, and just. I mean, that cover is so intense, man. I don't know, man.
And again with that blue, that kind of almost like teal that, reads as dusk to you, but it's like deep, but it's not dark. It's a fascinating color. And I don't think that, I don't honestly even know, like, what was the deal? Was it just down to the printers who were doing the color? Was Russ Heath making like color notes for the printer? Like half of these covers, it really is all about the color, and we don't know anything about the colorists.
Yeah, and Doc, don't forget, I got dibs on that. If you ever get rid of it, I want it back.
You got it. You got it, my man.
I don't regret so many things. That one's close. I'll be honest.
Now, here's one that I like. I like a good winter scene, and DS has my favorite winter cover, but this is probably my second favorite until I see something better. And it's actually a Sid Shores cover. So going to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Battle Action 7.0. So it's a pretty high grade for this time. And,
Battle Action 11.
Snow, he's carrying a comrade, fighting. It's just, you can see his breath, the blue, the dark coming down to the lighter blue. It's just super well done.
Yeah, that gradient is sick. And did you just get that recently? I feel like I recognize that X.
Heritage.
Yeah, that was one I have an eye on, and I forgot about it, and I didn't bid.
Yep, DS. We were talking about it, DS and I.
I was definitely going to bid on that, and I forgot all about it. Yeah. So I'm glad you got it. That's a really nice copy.
Yeah, so I think I saw the exact same grade on someone on Instagram, so it might have been the same. I
had a lower grade raw of that, which I sold because I wanted to get something like that one, and I will at some point. But real nice.
Yeah.
Here's one of my favorite evocative covers. It's Dick Ayers, and that's Battlefront 17. So again, Aftermath. You got, it's just, look at that. You got it as well. You probably have a higher grade than me. So
I don't know. 5.5. Oh,
you got to admit that's a beautiful comic.
It's so great. And there's a 3 or 3.5 that's been sitting on eBay for a while for like.
I look at it every day and I almost buy it.
I got this this is one of the first ones I ever got. I'm usually going. DS knows I usually go for Golden Age, and at some point I was on Comic Link and I saw this and I said, dude, that's such a great cover. I don't know what it is. I'm just bidding on it. And this was sort of the start of my Atomic era, more war grit comics. I've always loved I've been an Atomic Bomb cover collector, and I'll show you some of those later. But this just grabbed my eye. It's tells a lot of the story without any action whatsoever.
And there
the hammer and sickle there.
There aren't many of these that have such a prominent hammer and sickle. That's actually a Soviet flag, but some of them don't have it at all. And it's sort of like, for me, the swastika on the World War II books that always adds an extra sort of factor to it, historical factor to it. And that is probably that. And there's another one with the guy holding his hand up in the front, and you can see the hammer and sickle on I think Ezra has one.
Oh, is that
that one and the one you just showed are the two most prominent hammer and sickle ones that I can think of.
Which I think, I know which one you're talking about. Do you have that, Ezra? Are you going to show it?
The Battle Cry one.
Yes, I do have that, but I know yours.
Yeah, there it is.
So here we've got the hammer and sickle and the flamethrower, together in one glorious package.
Yeah, so those are the two best hammer and sickle covers, I think. The two best Soviet symbol covers that I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a Stanmore book, 1952.
That's the same ones that do War Cry too, which have a famous.
Irv Novick.
And it's got the old Battle Cry face on it too. DS with his
the floating head and the title. That's so cool.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, pretty rare, like a logo.
Just made a deal with someone to get War Cry #1, which has the guy with the bullet in his forehead, and that becomes pre-code horror comic. So I don't have it with me, but I got a 4.5 of that.
All right, well, I've got a few. I was going to show some snow covers since took us down. I just got two. Now, I used to have that Battle Action 11 low grade raw, which I got rid of. But that's the other one I need to sort of complete the trifecta, unless you want to count, and I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second. Mystic 18 is a pre-code horror book.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's got the dead Soviet soldiers, and he's like, "You're not allowed to die, comrade." And he's like pulling them up out of the grave to continue fighting. And it's a pre-code horror, but it's a sick snow cover.
I don't have to check that. I can't even evoke that.
I have
Oh
Warbook
man,
12.
Awesome.
that's so beautiful.
Oof. The detail is mind-blowing. And the color work. Again,
Yeah.
light and shadow, but then what the colorist did with it.
The coloring on this, it's just so comforting to look at. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just
To me,
so
that evokes
cool.
also Foxhole 1 a little bit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a
That's
little bit.
true. Injury to the eye.
Yeah, injury to the eye. He's now relaxing, sort of looking far off, contemplating, whatever.
And you can see the flames still in the background. The battle's over. He's got his cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and the eye patch. And yeah, really, really good. Again, an evocative cover, a snow cover.
This is for everybody. This is Mystic 18, so everybody can.
Yeah, there it is, the Russian Devil. And if you can blow that up, I don't know if you can zoom in.
Yes, I don't think I've ever seen that cover.
Oh, it's awesome, man. He says, get up, Ivan. You can't escape us by dying. We're not through with you yet.
I have a nice copy of that upstairs. I didn't think to pull it. I only pulled one like war PCH crossover book.
So I've been looking for one of those for years. It's not a war book, but it's war related. But it's a pre-code horror. It's a Bill Everett cover. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
And then the all-time greatest snow cover. If anybody disagrees with me, they're just wrong. It's Battlefront 26.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty.
And this one is a 5.0. There's not a lot on the census, and really, I think the highest is maybe 6.0 or something. But the Minesweeper cover.
Oh
man,
look at these guys.
You guys are killing me.
I don't think it's the highest though, but a little higher.
Hey, look, we got look at this. We actually got donations on this one. This is like a major news alert here. So James Lynn with the $5 says, "This is great, guys, but any good Paratrooper covers?"
Oh man,
I thought there's a.
I have Paratrooper covers from the Golden Age, but I don't have any Atomic Age Paratrooper.
There's a Russ Heath one with a Paratrooper, which I thought, Ezra, you had one, but maybe not. There was one that was signed by Russ Heath. It was a signature series slab.
Oh yeah, that's a GI Combat, but it's not.
Yeah, I have a few fight comics of Paratroopers coming down, and Wings.
Let me see if I have. I don't think I have any Paratrooper covers.
I don't think I do either.
Is Army at War? Is that Atom Age or is that Golden? Do we know?
Both.
I think it definitely
54, I guess. I mean, this one. I guess you could count this one if I blow it up. Give me 1 second here. This is I mean, it's DC, but I mean, whatever, right? So this is a Paratrooper. It's kind of cool because at least you got the gun in it. I'll blow it up, so I guess I can't blow it up. Okay. So yeah, you got him fighting in between the two people, and that's kind of cool. I mean,
it is cool.
I like that. I mean, I don't know what the back looks like. I'll just regular, but not too terrible. Let's just look for shits and giggles, right? So this is GVG. It's 8250. It's Russ Heath art. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean,
I wouldn't have guessed that was a Russ Heath cover.
And let's did he do it in the airplane?
No, maybe interior.
Maybe interior, yeah. And it's got a date stamp on it too. That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. July 9th. Looks like
there's a lot of super legit. I mean, I'm sure there are people watching and people in the chat. I can't see the chat that know better than me that, I mean, DC is responsible for some of the greatest war books of all time.
Yeah, people are saying a lot of great cap covers with him as Paratrooper. We know that. 2 pilots, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, those are 2 pilots. That's cool. Yeah,
but yeah,
I just typed it in.
Fight Comics has a bunch of Paratrooper covers, and
and
I have a bunch of Golden Age Paratrooper, but no Atom Age.
That's wicked. I've never seen that one.
This is not the one I was thinking of. The one I'm thinking of, man, it's a Russ Heath. It's sort of similar to layout to this, but it's got super heavy shadowing on it, of course. And I cannot think of the name of it. I'll try to think of it during the show. I'll show one more, though. This is one I had for sale, and I pulled it down. Nobody bought it, and I'm kind of glad because this is the highest graded copy, and it's great color. The arrangement, when I show this, look at the arrangement of it. It's not just tossed on there. It's arranged very deliberately, and it's the lines, everything just lines up. It's so aesthetic. Men in Action 9. And just the angle of the hill, the angle of the guys, just the parallel, like the bayonet going one way, the bullets coming the other way up here, shooting the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just the way these guys are going up the hill, the angles and everything, the arrangement is just so well done. It's got depth. You know, it's got this guy in the front, in the back, and then the battle in the middle. It's got this nice orange to yellow gradient.
Mm-hmm.
And 6.0, this is, I don't know, this is such a nice one, man.
Yeah, that's a cool book. It's funny how many of these use that compositional strategy, you know, like somebody dying right up front in the foreground, and then there's some middle ground action, and then there's all kinds of chaos in the background. Just like always getting the most out of that.
Yeah, and this is a Sid Shores cover, I think. Yeah, Sid Shores cover. And interestingly, this has Bob Fujitani art in it. If you really know, you can go back further into the Golden Age. Bob Fujitani, his best stuff or most well known is some of the early MLJ stuff. Is some Bob Fujitani.
I think I have a Black Hood of his Black Hood comics he did.
Probably. I think he also did.
He did Erie #1 too, didn't he? Erie #1.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think he did Pep 34. I think might be a Bob Fujitani cover too.
Yeah,
that's a very classic. So yeah, really nice, highest graded Men in Action 9. Yeah, nice book here. I'm pretty happy.
And may he rest in peace. I think he died last year. I think. Yeah.
So yeah, that's there's 3 more for you. So we can move on back over to Ezra. Well, I'll look for that Russ Heath Paratrooper cover because that's, I think, the best one. Cool.
Well, let's see. I kind of want to go some other directions, but I feel like there's one. Oh man, there's still a couple Russ Heath masterpieces that I have to check out. 1952 War Combat 3. I think there might be. I think this is actually the single highest graded, and it's definitely in my top 3 or 4 war covers of all.
Black cover too, man.
I am just such a sucker for black covers, and this is another one where, like, look at this drama up front, guys reloading, other dudes dead, and then in the middle ground, this fight on the dock, and then in the background, this
floating
body just floating in this black void. It's so freaking deep, and the blacks are so strong. Again, sorry about
that's a tight copy. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, absolutely love this one. I think there are, I don't know, 7 on the census or something. Pretty sure this is the highest. That's a Manili cover. He really had a way too. Really different style than Russ Heath. Like, not quite as realistic, but so just evocative. Stuff almost looks like engravings, you know. Lots of like parallel line work, contour lines. Like, all right, one more Russ Heath. Maybe my favorite Heath cover, second favorite, War 23, 1954.
Well, that's a well-known one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For people like us.
Yeah. And this one's really
beautiful.
He's really got it all.
Beautiful contrast there in the background and the helmets. It's just like.
Yeah. And then those explosions in the background. Pretty unusual, I think. Yeah, how the action's just focused just on this life and death battle up front. And then the background is just that explosion and this deep kind of reddish brown, really almost psychedelic.
Yeah, that's nice.
Far from the highest graded, but I think a 6 went for like $6.50 or something recently on Comic Link. I thought it was totally reasonable. I guess it's $100 a point on that book. All right, how about we shift a little, or we'll see if the shift lasts. I don't know, but Deno, since you showed that DC book, it got me thinking about some of the best war books of all time are DC books. And honestly, as a fairly novice war collector, I feel kind of delinquent for not, like, I don't have any Our Army at War. There's a bunch of great DC war titles that I haven't even explored yet, but I do have a few GI Combat, including this first one, Off-White Pages, 1952. with a Reed Crandall cover. So that's kind of like a connection from the Golden Age to the Atomic Age. And the detail on this is really phenomenal, like real Russ Heath kind of quality to it, actually, like the detail in the face, the grimness, the intensity, the lighting, the heavy shadows. Love this book. And it's pretty tough to find, I think, above a 3 or 3.5. But still pretty affordable because it's Atomic Age War.
Yeah.
And few people care.
They're deals.
Yeah. All right, I think that's 3.
I saw this one. I haven't seen this one. I don't know if you guys probably have. You guys know more about this than I do. Little
I
Adam
have
Age
that
Combat.
one.
Do you?
Yeah, Doc's got that one.
Oh, look at you. Little
I don't
Adam
know if
Age
I have
Combat. Yeah, good stuff.
I don't think I pulled it out because I don't know why.
Is that
I'm
some
annoyed.
frogmen? Who are those guys?
Yeah, I think it's Frogman storming the beach.
Yeah, and it's cool because this frogman over here on the
Oh, here it
left.
is.
Oh, see, look at you.
Wow, look at that color strike. Is that really different?
So 4.5 here. I actually bought this raw and sent it for grading.
You looking for an upgrade? I got one. I got a spot for you.
And yeah, I like DS knows I like atomic bomb cover, so
Yeah.
I
This copy is relatively cheap where I'm looking at. So I'll let you. There's a show. I'll show it to you where I got it from. But no, it's cool. It's got, like you said, atomic cover. It's got, people going down at least. I don't know if they're being killed, but they're going
Right.
down at least. So
It's like, dude, take your flippers off before
I know.
go on the beach. Come on.
And then it's a #1 issue, so that's always a plus, right? And it's from June 52, right? We talked about June 52.
St. John's publications had some interesting, I wouldn't call it they didn't have a ton of great covers for war, but that's interesting.
No, they had, though, if you're looking for some Matt Baker non-romance stuff, he did some St. John war covers, and his war covers mostly, I think he actually signed, because most of the Matt Baker covers don't have a Matt Baker signature on them.
Correct.
This one,
I think he signed.
Yeah.
here's one, Matt Baker.
Wow, flamethrower
yeah.
cover too.
That's a
Let
tough
me
one.
pull it out of the bag. It's a low grade, 2.5, but it's the only Matt Baker comic I have.
I want to hear your war comics theory on this one. So there's a copy of a book. I won't give it away. It's a Russ Heath, right? So there's like 9 on the census. Okay. This one's the 4th highest. They want, I don't know. We'll call it $1,000, right? Do you buy it when it's a 6.5 at $1,000?
Let's see it.
Oh, you want, okay? Well, do you want to give it away? Sure.
I mean, okay, yeah, maybe not.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'll show it. You want me to show it? I
But
don't
again,
care.
is it highest graded? That would be my first question.
It's not highest graded. There's like 4 above it.
Yeah. Is it an incredible cover?
It's not terrible. I'll
I
show it
don't
to
know. That
everybody.
seems like a lot in this market. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, so what is that?
One of those evocative covers. DS
What is that,
evocative.
V2 or
It's the
something?
only one I know where they're pressing the button to launch the bomb.
What's it coming out of? A silo?
Yeah, or
never seen that
I'm
one
not
before.
sure. It's almost like
It's like Jeff Bezos and a rocket launch. It's like in a field.
yeah, it's like
somewhere.
a V2 setup.
satellites, nuclear weapons. Yeah,
Yeah, I've never seen that one before. That's cool.
yeah. It's a St. John's. It's Atom Age Combat #1 from 1958. So it's one of the later ones, but it has the actual Common Code Authority. But I saw it on eBay and I'd never seen it before, so I just bought it.
Yeah, I've never seen that one before.
So
We got a couple extra people in the chat. Sean Cleveland's in the chat. He's a big fan of Atom Age War. So I want to see. We're trying to think of Sean. Maybe you can help us out. Type in the chat. There's a Russ Heath Paratrooper cover. Really good. None of us have it. We're trying to show a picture of it, but I can't remember which issue or title it is. There was recently a CGC signature series that sold like a 4.0 signed by Russ Heath. And that was at auction. We're trying to figure out what book that is, and we can't think of it.
So this is the 6.5. It's really nice. Obviously, it's a Russ Heath, right? Because you got Russ Heath down here in the. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, I don't know how long it's been sitting out there for, yada yada yada. But still, I mean, I still think.
That's a real nice book.
Yeah.
What number is it?
5.
That's a early one.
And it's creamed off white. I know people on this panel, right? Off white. No, I'm joking.
I mean, it don't matter for these books.
I don't front on page quality when it comes to
the highest, I think, don't quote me, boys. I think the highest is like an 8 or 8 something. I think. So it's like a couple 7s, and this is like 6.5 is rolling around. You know.
Well, I'll tell you, for a book for a war book from this genre, a 6.5 is high grade. That's a high grade copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's high grade.
7. Sean's so the one I'm talking about, Sean in the chat is the one who bought that 4.0 signature series.
Oh,
I remember watching that, and I bid on it, but I did like a typical cheapskate fashion. I didn't
see if we can pull it real quick.
Yeah, look for Men in Action 7. I think is probably my favorite Paratrooper cover.
That's amazing.
Okay, let's open.
Yeah, this is my favorite Paratrooper cover. And I don't own it. I want a copy. That 4.0 signature series I bid on, but I just didn't.
You gotta love the red and black.
Yeah.
But look at the shadowing on this. It's such heavy shadowing, but it's classic Russ Heath, right? This is what he does.
That color scheme is mind blowing, though. How the red goes to like magenta and pink,
and then you got the Heath over here in the corner. It's not the full, but it's an initial Heath.
Yeah.
Right. This cover is so dope. I love it. I want one of these so bad.
And you got the coolness in the back. The guy getting surrendering, maybe is a better word. Maybe I don't know. Surrendering.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to give up. I don't know if that's going to take, but
yeah,
he's about to get castrated.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, look at the PI's face and look at the shadowing. Like the light he's being illuminated by is from the gun he's firing.
Yep.
And you can see there's like an area of light in the middle, and everything around the outside of that is just heavy shadowing. And that red sky, it's just so good.
Look at this guy. He got a 4.5 signed copy for $350. Oh,
yeah. I'm embarrassed. I bid like 200 on it. And I'm like, when it's sold for that, I was like, duh, of course. What an idiot I am. But
I wish I'd seen it.
And the signature, I think the Russ Heath signature was in the blank spot.
Right here, maybe?
No, in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Right in there, I think. It was like perfectly placed. And his signature is so cool anyway. Yeah, it's such a good copy. Nice. But yeah, so there's the Paratrooper cover for
look at a little modern comic. G.I. Joe 21 Snake Eyes rappelling down the wall. If everybody's familiar with that cover, I'll pull it up for everybody just so everybody can.
Just reminded me of this one. The composition's totally different, but again, that almost psychedelic like black and pink combo.
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, so weird and so effective.
Yeah, I like that blast coming out of the cannon where they put the little words in there. Night Assault.
Yeah. The color scheme on this one, just love it.
And then if we go back here, boom, so right there, look, little G.I. Joe, 21,
repelling.
Yeah, that's a good cover too, man.
Yeah, silent issue. It's
hard to say if one artist is influenced by other artists, and there's a lot of war themes throughout history, but this looks like a modern version of the books we're showing. Like this fits right in. You know what I mean?
No.
It doesn't look like a super modern cover. It looks like some of these Russ Heaths were showing with just updated guns and trade dress on the book. Really?
Okay, let's get this modern trash off the show, geez.
All right, so I don't know who's up, Dino. I've got a few.
Whatever you guys want to do, it's cool. I don't know. Whatever you guys, whoever wants to. Want to do
Russ Heath that I think is this one. I think it was he used a photo reference on this. This is not your typical Heath, but I think he used photo reference. So there was I've been looking and I've yet to find it, but I think there's probably a photo out there that he used for this cover. Sort of like Kirby with the Foxhole 1, which we'll talk about, but it's Battle 15.
Yeah, that one's a beauty.
It's not your typical Heath. I mean, it's obviously awesome, but it really, really looks like he used a photo.
Yeah,
it's
so real. It's so real, evocative of a real photo.
I mean, it looks like a photo. You know,
and doesn't it feel like it foreshadows like a Vietnam War kind of vibe? Like it almost
looks like a Vietnam War cover to me. Yeah. and this is 1955. This is the last pre-code issue of the title, number 15.
So good.
And this one I just got graded recently. It's a 3.5 off white to white. Pretty tough book to find. This is a pretty good looking copy, so I'm pretty happy to have it. But yeah, I like the fire in the background with the flag. But I mean, this looks like a photo reference cover to me.
Yeah, definitely.
And my man Sean in the chat goes, Navy Action 4, which I just pulled up, is Hammer and Sickle on the submarine.
Yeah.
But it's also a Heath cover, obviously, which is dope.
This is another one this was another one
that was recently on Comic Book, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's
Heritage.
I freaking forgot about it. This was when they've split the Heritage Sunday night auctions into Sunday and Monday, and I think this was on a Monday split. I missed it. I want that one, but I've got Navy Action 2, which is my favorite one from that. But I do want that one too.
That would be a sick pair, and that black text on that yellow background. It's insane. Yeah,
and this is a 6.5 off white, so this is a nice copy of this. But again, with the sort of dust guy, and sort of this, how this guy up top is darker, and then you've got these oranges and pinks, and Russ Heath again, heavy shadowing.
Well, I think, would you guys say, because you guys know more than I do about Atom Age War, it's like, do you think we're moving into that phase of this whole thing about light and dark, kind of, since the war's kind of, atom bomb war is over, like light and dark kind of, coming out of something maybe with the art. I don't know.
I think it definitely reflects like a new grimness, and just a new understanding of like the horrors of war, which was totally glossed over.
Less propaganda and more realism,
right.
Golden Age was very much about let's just promote the troops and the war effort, etc. Where this is more grim realism. You're seeing Americans get killed much more often. It's just brutal. It's not like, ooh, look at this. Don't you want to join the army?
Right.
It's a little.
I mean, it's still got propaganda value for sure, but it's definitely more nuanced.
Yeah.
That is so sick.
I love the 45. This is Russ Heath as well. Battleground 4, 1955. All new war tales. There's not a lot of writing on this one, like little captions and stuff. Just all new war tales, and then this scene.
That's all you need on that one.
That gun's a little different than the Schaumburg orange and yellow guns.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this stuff's more realistic and grittier. And I don't know. This is a pretty bright copy. It pops with this yellow and red sort of.
What issue is that? Battleground
4. Yeah, so Battleground, there's only 4 issues that are pre-code. All right, so look, once the code hits a book and you get that stamp up there, I'm out. It's not because they're not good. It's just sort of my OCD decision to stay focused on a particular narrow area. I'm a minimalist, and if it's got a code stamp, I'm out. So I'm probably missing a lot of cool books from the later 50s, but whatever. I mean, so
you got to draw a line somewhere. Yes,
the last one I would go for. Then they start having a stamp. It is what it is. Whatever. Can't have everything. Yeah, one more, and then we'll move on. So this one I bought raw, and it was really dirty. I cleaned it up, and it came out great, and it's such fresh paper quality. This is probably the best paper quality of any Golden Age book I have. Battle 34. I sent it in 5.0 white pages. I think it's a Harry Anderson cover. 1954. And I've never had a Golden Age book with the pages are so white, and even the cover, it's white. You know what I mean? It's like printer paper white up there.
Cleaning skills.
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate that, but it wasn't that difficult. I just there was some gunk on here that came off pretty easy, and underneath the gunk, it was just perfectly, it was just a perfect book. I couldn't believe it. And you can see by the back cover, look at this thing.
Yeah. It's like,
this is as white as it gets. This thing's like right off the newsstand. It's never even seen, and it's getting more UV now than it probably ever has. But yeah, just it cleared up before eyes. It's such a good copy, and it's such a cool book.
That's gorgeous.
That is.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. This is one I listed for sale. Nobody bought it. I pulled it down, and I'm glad nobody bought it, and I'm keeping it. But yeah, I really like this one. So yeah, we can move on. We'll see what somebody else is going.
Well, let's move on to your Instagram story, because I think this will take up some time, and everyone can kind of chime in is a good word on this. So you post on an Instagram story, and let me pull it up here. About all our favorite Foxhole 1, obviously famous Kirby cover. And you talked about based on this painting over here by our man Joseph Hirsch from 1944. So, and it basically, I'll just paraphrase. Painting was included in 1945 book Men Without Guns, and then basically Kirby saw that painting when it graced the cover of a lesser known at the time Stag magazine of 51, which is probably one of the hardest magazines to find. Trust me, I've been looking. And as you see, he kind of recreated it for Foxhole 1, which is this is the magazine from Stag in 51. And then obviously this is Foxhole number 1. So
yeah, so that's my post. That's my copy there. Recent pickup. I think there's 17 or 19 on the census.
Hey, look, there's 3 of them right there. Oh, there
Somebody
you go.
screenshot this real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so there's 17 on the census, but there's only 14 out there available because there's these 3 on going.
You know, it's funny. I have a couple guys who I've been looking for a Foxhole 1. I know a couple other people have been looking for a Foxhole 1. I would say, what do you guys think? Maybe 2-3 years ago they were readily available. Now they become scarce is a good word for them.
I don't know that they're readily available.
Yeah, I don't think they were ever readily available. I don't think this is a mainline publications from 1954. Yeah, Kirby cover. So
we have 4. We have 4. He has one too.
Cleveland, so we've accounted for all but
they're out there. But I'll tell you, I've looked for years and I've found some. And people have them, and I make offers, and I get that NFS response. Not for sale. I'm not selling it. I'm like, keep me in mind. There's a couple people on Instagram who hit up. They don't want to sell. Like people who have this don't usually sell it. I got this from Golden Age Guru, one of his monthly claim sales, and it was, here's my price. It's firm, no offers. And what are you going to do? The time to get something like this is when you see it. So I was like, I'll take it. I'm not really worried about the price on something like this when it comes up. They don't come up very often, and people who have them don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And all right. So I'm going to throw this out there. You guys tell me what you think. For Atom Age War books, I think this is top of the list.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, it's the most iconic.
Yeah. It's the most iconic. I think the one, arguably, there's more people after this though, because this is where the war people, where the PC
top 2
crossover, right?
And you know what?
You got a better one, but I got
War 11. Yeah, I don't have one of those. You guys have that's arguably the best flamethrower cover. It's that black cover.
It's very brutal. I mean, it's.
But so there's your top flamethrower cover probably, and then this might be your top evocative cover.
Right.
So we're covering from one end of the spectrum to the other with these books. I like the evocative ones better than the action pack, although I like both. I'm not like a flamethrower cover guy as much, but yeah, I don't know. This I would, if I ranked Atom Age War books, this would be number 1 on the list.
Put your Russ Heath one where he's drinking and has the eye patch next to that.
That's top 10. Yeah, War Adventures 12.
Put them both. I mean, they're very, very similar to me. They're
it's
almost. You could say one was.
These 2.
Yeah.
Well, like they're both shell shocked, right? They're both just
one is drinking coffee, one's writing a letter, but
yeah, they're both.
You gotta love what he's writing on the box
covers. Yeah, both of these will be if I ranked what Atom Age War. These would be in the top 10.
Yeah, it's very psychological, right? And there's so much deeper for that.
Yeah, so we can move on to somebody else, show some other stuff. That Foxhole 1, though, yeah, check out my post and. You can read a little. I did a little brief blurb on it, which we showed, and you can see some closer pictures above it. And yeah, Foxhole 1, I think, is number 1.
Do you know? I was just going to say when you said like it seemed like they were readily available for a while. I know for me, like sometimes I'm sure this happens to all of us. You get kind of a false sense of of that. If a couple show up
yeah.
within a few weeks or a couple months of each other for sale, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I can get that. And then you don't see them again for years.
Correct.
You know, it's
Correct.
just,
Well, what do you say, DS? If it's available, you buy. You know, it's a good
the time to buy something rare is when you see it.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in Golden Age, a rare book, there'll be 3 or 4 on the market, or you'll see a handful of them within 6 months come up. And then you feel like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. I can pick and choose.
Yeah.
And then it's like that book ghosts you for like a year and a half, and you don't see any of it.
Yeah.
And that happens. There's one like Weird Mysteries 4 is one I had a copy of. I sold. I wanted to upgrade it. As soon as I sold that, I just don't ever see anymore. It's like I never see them. And there's like 50 or 60 of that in the census. That's not like a relatively tough book to find. But yeah, you'll have a few come up, and then there's a drought.
There's one on eBay. I think it's been sitting there for like years. That PGX one that's been sitting there for years for Weird Mysteries 4.
Well, there's a 4 and a 5. There's a 4 on there that's got a chunk missing that's been on there a while. And there's a 5 on there that's a PGX. I had both 4 and 5. And I sold both. The 4, I always wanted a better copy, and it just then all of a sudden I never see it. So I don't know, but I've had both, so that satisfies me. I can say that I've owned them. I like that.
Yeah.
I be able to say that
I've
enjoyed it.
I have a few atomic bomb covers if you want to see.
Let's go.
You can't have an atomic era
Yeah.
show without atomic bomb cover. So World War III #1's a
That's cool.
pretty classic. Capitol building look at the trade dress with the mushroom cloud. I mean,
World War III.
World War III #1. There's only 2, I think, were made. So it wasn't, but people running and getting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's not a rah sis boom ba comic. Here's a Atomic Attack.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's a cool one. I've only
That
seen
one reminds me of Fox-
#5.
That reminds me of the coloring on Foxhole too.
Yeah, it's a bright. You got the green. Who does the art? I can't remember. Harry Harrison.
I've only seen really washed out copies of that. I've never seen one with intense color like that. That's cool.
This one has a little bit of glue on it, so they call it restored. It's annoying, or tear seal. I'm saying one tear seal, but Atomic War, New York biting it. You got
awesome.
Mr. My friend and CGC president Matt Nelson says that's an easy thing to fix if you send it in.
Yep.
So
Chrysler, you got the Chrysler building there.
Yeah.
So
Man, you can see like the shock
Empire
wave
State
coming
Building.
through. You can see the air being blown through the front city scene.
yeah, it's a
That's really cool.
it's a pretty intense. People youngins don't realize that people were really worried about war.
I believe the answer right is Golden Age. These are all Golden Age size books, right? Not Silver Age.
It's weird because some of these are really wide and some are super narrow. There's not a uniform size to this era of war books. They vary probably as much as an inch between them, really, maybe 3/4 of an inch. There's a lot of variation in size of these books. Some of them will fill the whole slab. Some of them, I have one that's I'll show coming up that's really narrow. It's narrower than a Silver Age book. It's like modern size. It's kind of crazy.
And this one, they're bombing Russia actually, and we're getting revenge for New York, and this like they were already bombed, and yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's killer.
Cool.
And the last atomic bomb one is a very different speed, and I did post this on Instagram at some point, but it's Picture Parade.
Oh wow!
This was.
I've never seen that.
A boy.
This was meant to be an educational comic. It's actually about a boy who loses his dog and he wanders onto a nuclear bomb testing site, and then you learn about the atom and nuclear energy, and it's sort of actually a educational feel-good comic. It's from 1953. 53. And I'm not sure if they even know who the artist is. It's really rare, but what's even more rare, they actually have a teacher's edition, which I've graded. This is
cool.
questions you can ask your class. It was meant to be an educational comic, and this is underneath that page is the same picture here, but they have an outside cover with educational questions. I got this from Yaniv Strayflex, and there's tons of great books.
on at least my comic shop. Again, I don't know how prudent and true it is, but they're saying art by Pete Costanza. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's if it's the art or interior or but
yeah, that one with the kid soaking up the gamma radiation from that atomic blast with his dog. I think issue 2 he turns into the Hulk.
I was gonna say it's so great.
It's a prequel to
That's like
and a little bit of knowledge, I guess, for that whole run of comics.
yeah.
It's we think it would be like a continuation of it, but picture 2 is just some random like picture parade of random other stuff and some Native Americans and I don't know.
It's definitely the most interesting picture parade comic.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine. He's on YouTube. It's Metarog. His name's Roger, but his channel's Metarog. He is working on a full run of an educational series. That was put out in the 50s, and there's one issue that talks about jets. There's one issue that talks about rocket power. One that talks about electricity. One that talks about the atom. One that talks about oil and whatever. So there's a lot of like really cool educational comics from the 50s, and I've had a bunch of them. I actually had a bunch that I gave to Roger because he wanted to work on a run, so I gave him my copies that I have. I had a handful of copies of those educational ones. They're usually just all newsprint. They were handed out in schools. And what's cool when you read through those, especially like the ones about the atom or electricity stuff it's so far advanced now. When you look at it, it's such basic stuff. The drawings, it's got such a vintage quality to the drawings and the devices and the descriptions of how these things are used and their uses in society. And it's like early on in these technologies. And I think some of the impact of these books at the time, I mean, nobody really knew until, a while after we dropped the bombs on Japan, what a nuclear blast could do. I mean, we went in Japan afterwards and studied the effects on the people and the ground and the buildings and the land, and nobody really knew. And it was such a startling and scary thought of what these things could do. Then you put it on these comic books. I can't imagine a kid, in the early 50s seeing some of these books on the newsstand. And I mean, it's the feeling that those kids had when they bought those and read through them. I don't know what's going through their mind, because in school they used to have at that time like fire drills, but they were atomic bomb drills. So,
right, just stuck under your desk
by the commies. What are we going to do? And they would have like drills. That built up all the way to Cuban Missile Crisis, obviously right to the edge. But and all these books we have were owned by somebody back then. A lot of them by kids, and it's really cool that we are now collecting them. They're undervalued and underappreciated. The art is great. It's a period of history that is just as important to know about as World War II. And yeah, I know they're never going to be timelies, but man, these books just need to be appreciated more.
Yeah. I mean, it's like atom bomb. I was just pulling up pictures from back in the day.
Oh, no, man, you're on the ball here.
That's what I do, brother. That's what I do.
Man, it's great.
It's interesting because as we all know, this isn't going to do anything. But I mean, it's good to educate, I guess. But no, it's just interesting when it comes to different. I was just kind of showing up different drills, different photos and stuff. Let's kind of pop these open real quick. It's just very interesting when it comes to stuff like that. So,
and if there's an atomic blast, that's not a safe position.
Yeah. But, I mean, the desk is metal.
There is no real safe position.
Well, yeah, those desks were no joke back then.
I mean, they're probably as heavy as a refrigerator too. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
yeah, let me show a couple more here.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna. I only got a couple left. I only have like 16 or 17 of these books. Here's a Russ Heath. We were talking about the sizes of the books. So this one is probably the smallest in size. It's really narrow, and you can see in the slab it's like a small Silver Age or like a slightly oversized Modern almost. It's a pretty thin book. There's a lot of space on either side. But this is Battlefield 2, 1952, Russ Heath. And you see this hand coming out of the rubble on the bottom just to start.
Oh, I've never seen that. I've seen that. I almost got that raw on eBay a while back. If I'd noticed that hand, I might have bought it.
That's a really cool take on here. Well, these guys in the rubble are about to encounter each other with their bayonets. And you can see the fighting going on in the background. And the thing about Russ Heath, he doesn't ignore the details in the background.
No.
I mean, it's all there. He put his all into every inch of the cover, and
very different style from Schoenberg, but attention to detail like Schoenberg, you know.
yeah. And this
Who
is
also
this is one of my favorite books I own. The jets up top too. It's a cool touch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Battlefield 2. Really, really nice. I bought this one raw, I think on eBay too. And I sent it in, and it's a 6.0.
Maybe I was the one I was looking at some point.
It might have been. I mean, I think it sat there for a minute, and then I grabbed it. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I think it was a steal for what this piece of art is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me show you one more here that I think really epitomizes the attention to the background details by Russ Heath. And as you can tell, I love Russ Heath. Almost all my war books are Russ Heath. I think that's the pinnacle of this, is the Russ Heath stuff. War Comics 26.
Yeah.
And what I like about this cover, I mean, the image is good. It's got that, no regular colors in the sky ever on these Heath covers. But you can see the planes. And then as you go back, you see the details in the background. I mean, it goes way back, and it's just, there's that tank back there. You can even see the guy with the flamethrower way back here.
Yeah, that's some deep space.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, you can see the gun hanging down. There's planes coming.
Yeah.
I mean, this is background stuff, man. And look at this.
Yeah.
As you zoom out, you can see like this flamethrower guy. Look how small that is on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His backgrounds are more dynamic than a lot of cats' foregrounds.
You can't even see it really in a photo, Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. For all Golden Age books, though, when you have them in hand, they knock your socks off. It's not like buying a Silver Age Spider-Man. You get what you think you're getting, and it is what you thought it was.
Right.
These are always better when you get one for the first time. It's always better than you thought it was going to be from the photos. It's just, So I bought this off a friend of mine. He priced it, and I was like, done deal. That sounds good to me, and happy to have that. So.
That's
I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to show. I've only got a couple more. They're really, we can skip them. They're not great.
I mean, I feel like we've got to give DC a little love, and we got to give EC a little love.
Yeah, let's see
more books don't get any love, and I know there's plenty higher graded than this, but because there's Bill Gaines file copies of all of these, right? So there's 9.6s and 9.8s out there, but maybe that's part of why these seem undervalued and underappreciated. But come on, Harvey Kurtzman was an absolute baller genius, just a master of simplicity and movement and dynamism and light and shadow. I mean, in a similar way to Russ Heath, right? Far less detail, but total mastery over light and shadow, just like Russ Heath, I think. I just think these are so slept on and so underappreciated. The fact that you can get this in a 7 for a couple $100, maybe $250, like, come on.
And it's got a style that's very unique and identifiable right off. As soon as you see it, instantly know who the artist is. It's sort of like the Basil Wolverton effect, sort of. You see it, instantly know it's him.
And the fact that he could deploy that style equally, for humor or for horror or for war, and like be equally effective in all those different genres just blows my mind. And then kind of the opposite style, but equally badass, I think, Two Fisted Tales 30, maybe one of the best EC war covers, Jack Davis.
Yeah.
I love the cigarette there, man.
Yeah.
Look at his face.
The detail on this one is legendary.
That's beautiful.
Douse that light and he's already been hit. Yeah. Just so cool and so underappreciated compared to the horror titles or even the crime titles. So a little bit of love for EC. I know we're playing for time now, so here's the 2 annuals.
Oh, those are hard to get.
EC annuals are tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, obviously a fraction of the price, of what the sci-fi or the horror annuals command.
Yeah.
But for my money, these kind of kick the horror annuals asses, just on the level of art. I know not on the level of scarcity or desirability, but
Well,
I bet you
any
scarcity is
annual.
similar. You think they're less scarce? I think they're probably similar scarcity.
yeah, I think I don't know.
Desirability is probably the
I haven't
part.
checked that's the key. Like people aren't really, not nearly as many people
The
obviously.
thing about the annuals is they're like 100 pagers, they're square bounds. Any annual from the golden age that is not falling apart is a rare gem because they just don't exist in good condition. And they didn't print a lot of them either, I think.
Here's a Young Men 20 that Sean says it's a great cover too, which it is. Got the bazooka with the tank and him reloading the shell eventually. It's going to be
so sick. One of these was just up for sale recently too, but I can't remember where.
Yeah, I feel like I saw that recently.
Yeah.
Well, even the puddle in the front. Who's the artist on that one?
I'll tell you. It is. Does Dale have it? Dale Everett.
$50. Come on.
$50. Send it.
I bet it won't last.
This stuff, look, I collect for value and stuff I like, but it's sort of like an investment portfolio of art that I'm passionate about. And I very rarely buy stuff that's common to keep. I buy stuff that I think has good investment value, but I also love the artwork. And I keep buying these war books, and they don't have the value that they should have. But the art is so freaking good. It's historical. It's awesome. There's the artists on them, especially the Atlas stuff. It's just top-notch artists, top-notch work. They put their all into it. It's got a historical reference to it, and they're still so cheap, and I don't get it. But I'm not going to complain until I have all of the ones I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, man. I still am blown away. I mean, I seemed like there was a little spike last year, and it got some interest, and then it faded out. I don't know, man. I mean, you guys are with me probably. You don't understand it either, but I mean, we'll pick them up while we can, while they're cheap, and I'm enjoying it, man. I'm loving these things.
Yeah, I sort of backed into it. As I said, I saw that one, and I'm like, okay, that looks cool too. That looks cool too. I didn't come out and go, I want to collect Atom Age war comics, but I guess that's just where my proclivity leads.
Yeah, and we're at almost 70 years old on most of these war books. The 50s, the stuff from the early 50s. It's almost 70 years old, and it's an era. It's not that. I mean, World War II stuff. I feel like World War II timelies should blend into this as like the next phase. The Cold War, the atomic era, the darker, grittier style of art. And it all leads up to comics becoming the superhero stuff. But before the superheroes hit the scene really in a major way in the Silver Age, there's this stuff out there. And it's just this one area that we're talking about tonight is so good.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on, sharing your knowledge, your books, all the good stuff. So I think with
Thanks
that,
for having us on, Dino.
Yeah, no problem. And then look at this little GI combat action.
DC got almost no love, so
that's okay.
I mean, again, some of the best, and these are both Russ Heath. So this is the transition. These are a little bit later, though, right? 1960 and 61.
You know what I've been grabbing recently, Ezra, is some of the Silver Age Kubert DC. I've been really grabbing a bunch of those.
Kubert's got some good stuff.
Enemy Ace.
There's Grandinetti is a really good artist for DC War, like later than what we've been showing. Grandinetti stuff is great.
That's Grandinetti. Yeah, wash tone and covers.
The Grandinetti GI. He did a long run on that GI Combat. It's really good stuff. And then Jerry Robinson did a lot of stuff in the genre we're talking about too, and that stuff's super realistic too. But Grandinetti is further into like the code stuff. That Grandinetti stuff is great.
Yeah, brilliant.
Good stuff, guys.
This is good. I can't wait. I can't wait for maybe Atomic Age 2 or whatever you cats come up with for the next show.
I'll give you a little preview here. So, Man Cave, I'm definitely going to want to have you back to do Atom Bomb covers.
Sure.
And then, Ezra, I'll probably have you on again, and we can talk about whatever. But I know you have some pretty good EC stuff. Or just a lot of varied EC stuff. So definitely want you guys to be recurring guests on the show because every time you guys are here, it's just awesome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Cool. We appreciate it.
Total honor.
Yeah, no problem.
Likewise.
And then what we'll do is we'll catch everybody next week. And then as you say, Thursdays 9:00. This is the place to be. You want vintage comics? That's what this place is at. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Later.
Bye, boys.